Hey guys, it's me, Mrs. McIntyre. I'm going to be making your math video for this week. Today you're going to learn 3 strategies to use when multiplying mixed numbers. The first strategy I'm going to teach you is personally not my favorite. However, it might be yours. So, that being said, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and draw my model. When thinking about how to divide my columns, I know that 4 3/4 is bigger than 4, but it's not quite 5, so I know that I'm going to need at least 5 columns to be able to fit 4 3/4 into my model. There you can see my holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I'm going to split this into fourths. And there you can see my 3/4. Now, for my opposite direction, I'm going to split 2 1/2 into 3 columns because 2 would not be enough. And now I'm going to shade in. Oh, wait, I'm not going to shade yet. I have to include my half right here. So here's my 2 holes where I'm dotting 1, 2, and now I'm going to split this into half. Now I'm going to shade in. There is the half right there. Okay, now I need to get my 3/4. And my little 1/8. Okay. Now, I'm going to add up all of my partial products right now. So it's kind of hard to see, but right here where I'm outlining is going to be your first whole 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On another slide, we're going to add our partial products together, but for now I'm going to jot them down in the corner. Right below it, I have a half, a half, a half, and a half, which I know when added together, 4 halves equals 2. So I'm going to head and outline that because I know that's done. And back up to here, I have my fourths. So I know that this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, which I know is improper, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then down here, I have my eighths. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. Now on the next slide, I'm going to add all my partial products together. So here I have 8 plus 6/4 plus 3/8 plus 2. I'm going to go ahead and change my improper fraction. And now when adding fractions, I know that I have to find a common denominator between 4 and 8, which I know is 8. So I'm going to head and do 8 plus 1 4/8 plus 3/8 plus 2. I'm going to add my whole numbers together, which gives me 11. And then I know that 4/8 plus 3/8 is 7/8. Okay, on to strategy number 2. For this equation, we are going to solve our problem using a model. This one you guys are already familiar with. You've used this before when just multiplying regular numbers, not fractions. So we're going to do 3 1/6 times 4 3/4. In my first box, I'm going to do 3 times 4, which I know is 12. And then 4 times 1/6, which is 4/6. Then I'm going to do 3 times 3/4, which I know is 9/4, and then 3/4 times 1/6, which is 3/24. Here are all my partial products. Now I need to add them together. So on the next slide, I'm going to do that. So we've got 12 plus 4/6 plus 9/4 plus 3/24. I'm going to go ahead and change my improper fraction. So that's going to be 12 plus 4/6 plus 2 1/4 plus 3/24. And again, like in the first strategy, when adding fractions, I need to find a common denominator. Looking at my denominator, 6, 4, and 24, I know that 24 is a common denominator. So I'm going to head and convert all of my fractions to have a denominator of 24. 12 can stay the same. Plus 16 over 24. Plus 2 6/24 plus 3/24. That one can stay the same. Okay, 16/24 plus 6/24 plus 3/24 gives me, let's see, 25/24, and my whole numbers give me 14. However, that's an improper fraction still, so I know that my final answer is going to be 15 1/24. Okay, moving on to our last strategy. 2 1/4 times 2 1/2. For this strategy, we're not going to draw a model. We're going to decompose one of our fractions. So I'm going to write 2 1/4 right up here and 2 1/2. And I'm going to decide to keep 2 1/4 together and decompose 2 1/2 to be 2 1/2. My first step then is going to be 2 1/4 times 2, which gives me 4 1/2. And then my second step is going to be to multiply 2 1/4 times 1/2. Do you see I'm using the 2 and the 1/2 that I decomposed from 2 1/2. This gives me 1 1/8. These now, 4 1/2 and 1 1/8 are my partial products. I'm going to add these together on another slide. 4 1/2 plus 1 1/8. And when adding fractions, I need to find a common denominator, which I can see as 8. So this is going to be 4 4/8. Oh, that's a 4. Plus 1 1/8, which gives me 5 5/8 as my final number. Okay, so I know that was a lot of strategies thrown at you all at once. Don't worry, tomorrow in class we're going to spend the whole day breaking down each strategy and like taking a test run for all of them. Hopefully by the end of the day you will choose a strategy that works best for you. However, it's important that you know how to do all of them, but I know that I have my favorite already. So be ready in class tomorrow to try and work all of these out. I will see you then.